You are gold. Okay, I posted this famous chart. Man, I've been following the monthly chart of gold spot XAUUSD for a while. After that downfall, that stage 4, bounce up, starting to set that monthly defined resistance at 1350, pretty clear cut. Oh, went at it again, couldn't make it, 1350 holding up. And getting closer and closer to it, getting close, touching it barely, and starting to go back down. The way I see this constructing is a ascending triangle, low, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, hitting that break line, defining it. And that's why you always have to wait for that breakout line. Don't jump the gun. You want a clear cut breakout just like that. Look at that crazy move. Here you could have had an entry back then. I don't have more data than that. Breakout, you could have rode for a few months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost a year. Could have you had a stage 2 on the monthly candle chart. Then you had a crazy 1, 2, 3 years, 2 years solid stage 2, never challenging that 12-month moving average. And when you close below, you had all this successful trade, beautiful. Stage 4 decline. And now we're in this consolidation base that's been lasting since January 2014 all the way to today. So 4 or 5 years already. Wow. So the bigger the base, the higher in space. So we have XAUUSD. I'm also checking out because of my home country's currency, a little weaker than the US, and we are same type of pattern, but we haven't, because of the value of the Canadian dollars, we don't have this resistance of gold on top like the US chart. So we have this huge pattern, but what's more cool about it is we don't have that resistance, incoming resistance that the US dollar XAUUSD has right here. Either case, these are preparing for a bull breakout, will be a fake out. Let's dig in. I want to see now. I don't want this to go lower than this. I don't mind this pullback in this stage 2 on the weekly chart within that stage 3 on the monthly chart, or that stage 1 basing action on the monthly chart. There's on smart time frames, you get stage analysis, stage 4, stage 1, stage 2, and this is a pullback within a stage 2 above Ichimoku cloud, above an inclining 30-week average. But some symptoms that you shouldn't be too happy about is you're underperforming the SPX. So before you go long, you would never want to go long if you're underperforming the SPX. So you really want that price action to start turning around. And if it turns around with a bounce off the 30-week moving average, bounce off support, that could be a good low risk entry point right here. You're squeezing up all the way to that break line. But ideally, without taking in an embryonic position, the best would be to wait to have a month close above 1350. With the amount of times that it's been tested, even here respected on the weekly, here you had 1 week that you had noise above it. That's why you wait for the monthly candle chart before playing. Right here on the weekly, even the weekly respected it very well. So that for me is going to be a clear-cut signal that gold is going to be off to the races. Either just the strength of gold or the strength of gold combined with US dollar weakness. So we have to wait right here. Yeah, really will have to wait for that pullback to start turning back up, and you want to start outperforming this PX. You want to go in that green zone. Let's see if we get some divergence on the weekly. There is no divergence. There is a big divergence right here. So higher lows on the weekly, on the price action, lower lows on the indicator. So remember, for the weekly fast talk, That's a good reservoir of bearish, if you have bearish divergence or bullish divergence, that's a good reservoir to consume to bounce up. So for swing traders, that's a type of place where you want to be. You want it to have good divergence, good setup, good moment to get in off 30-week moving average inclining. So a lot of symptoms, you're going down, but the health and the energy buildup for you to go back up is slowly accumulating. And if I go on the monthly is more of the power band. You want to stay up. So look at that in that stage, in that crazy stage 2 right here. You had that fast stock monthly staying here. That's what you want. You don't want it going in downwards. And when you started going downwards right here, and it couldn't get back up. Oh, no. And then down it went, and then it went into a long bear power zone right here. Trying to go back up, but not staying. And I think it's going to stay when we close above that 1350, the monthly close. I think after that we're gonna close above. But what's good is you're not crossing over, so you don't want this to cross over back into that bearish territory right here. This is scary stuff. When you're down here, you're in the power band for that stage 4 potential decline. So when it started going back up right here, about halfway through, that's when it started turning back up. And then you say, oh, okay, now I'm in a happy zone right there. Every time it crosses right there, about, tack, you're turning around back up. Here I am going back down. So you don't want any crossover into the halfway point on the fast stock on the monthly. Dangerous stuff. If it starts going back down, you're gonna want to see is if you had a valid trend line or somewhere where it tested, you want it to bounce off of that and then go back up to the zone. So you're adding the weight of evidence, technical build-up that you shouldn't be scared of the price action going back down. You're actually going to bounce back up, go back into the power band, higher lows, squeezing that price action until it explodes on the way top. So that is the way gold is playing. Can we get some details maybe on the daily? Ooh, look at those lines. All right. So on the daily, same type of reservoir, but consumed faster, so it fluctuates the moves. Do we have divergence? Even on the daily, I think we have some... Ooh. Yeah, we have some divergence. Price action, slight divergence, price action refusing to go lower. But you're through the first line of support, that 50-day moving average. You're down below it. That Ichimoku cloud barely keeping you alive. And then you have that 200-day moving average. This, remember, the trend always changes on the smaller time frames first. And then it builds up. And the longer it stays on the daily in a downtrend, then the weekly is going to start looking bearish. And then the monthly eventually. Keep an eye on this, the daily. Wait till it stays back in positive territory. Wait until the weekly turns back up. And worst case scenario, just wait for that close above 1350 for gold, xauusd, and that monthly defined resistance will be turned support, and that will be a pretty good risk to reward, low risk environment because you're protected by that important 1350, and high reward because of that long stage. One, you could have a vacuum going up. And I just want to go check the xaucad one more time. And yeah, oh man, this is going to be crazy. So no overhead resistance. Close Canadian, close above 17. What's that line? 1765, 1766. And if you're really patient and if we're really lucky, we're going to get a big candle that's going to close also above this all-time monthly defined candle close at close goes 1784. So monthly close at close to 1800, 1805 will be pretty good. And your sell stop will be below that wick or below that low here, wherever we get it. You enter up here, position size, so don't lose more than 1% there. And then off you go. And then you'll probably be able to scale in some more when you go up and you test that resistance, turn support, and then you'll be able to enter right here once again, some more positions, and try to ride all the way that up until you hit that swing rule right here. And then you could look to scale out if ever you're close to that 12-month moving average, or you think it's not going to hold, or some other clues, trendline violations on the weekly chart start giving you clues that you should not be there anymore and you should start scaling out. All right, gold, check it out. Keep an eye on the daily. If it holds up, look at the weekly, and ideally just sit on the sideline, put an alert on 1350 and wait for that to have a close above it. Sayonara, gold. Ciao, guys.